let's talk about some coping and seething. So I came across this article about Black Myth Wukong. And this particular article, again, it's not like I went searching for it. I just happened to be Googling some stuff about Black Myth Wukong, came across this news article, read the headline, and then unfortunately had the bad graces to read the rest of it. And my God. This must be like an Alyssa Mercante wannabe. It really must be. Black Myth Wukong isn't even good. But that won't stop Chinese nationalists and anti-woke sales. Definitely not a 10 out of 10. This one by Shannon Liao. Oh, shocker. Shocker. We got ourselves a multicolored hair psycho. Shocker. It's amazing that this person who has what looks like a 5 o'clock shadow, I don't really know. This person thinks that Black Myth Wukong isn't even that good. Gee, I can only imagine why that is. So let's read it a little bit. In Black Myth Wukong, after I crushed a nasty snake boss, the game's heroic monkey protagonist triumphantly marched through the temple gates only to find another boss. I warily trounced this bear boss too, but what I really wanted was new characters to chat with or a nice spot to lay on my head. Perhaps in the game's next chapter. No. Perhaps you should play The Sims. You know what I'm saying? Perhaps you should play The Sims. If you're looking for a place to lower your head and relax, perhaps you should not be playing an action RPG with gameplay similar to the Soul series. That's probably not the best kind of game to be playing if you're looking for something to relax in. It doesn't make much sense. But anyway, let's continue. No shot. I walked forward only to enter another area full of aggressive beasts and visually appearing swaths of barren wasteland. Now, again, to be playing a Souls-like game, even if it's a light version of it, or to be playing a game of this stature and complaining that you're running into boss after boss after boss with no rest, not exactly the kind of thing that you should be expecting when you play a game like this. But again, who am I? I'm just, they just consider me a grifter. These are the real gamers, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody take a step back. The real gamers are in town now. You know what I'm saying? The real gamers are talking now. Let's listen to them. After 10 years of game development, Chinese developer Game Science Black Myth Wukong has had a viral reception, a 10-cent minority investment, and unbelievable success on Steam. But while sinking a dozen hours into Black Myth, I couldn't help but think of how gamers over the years would have complained if Elden Ring or Diablo 4 contained such sparse amount of content. Wukong's world feels empty and devoid of life. If that sounds familiar, I'm echoing what some players said about Starfield last year, another 60-hour RPG saga, which ironically had loads of side quests and was in fact much livelier than the internet might have you believe. Now, I want you guys to understand something. All right, let's understand something really quick. This bitch who is reviewing a video game, all right, supposedly you're reviewing a video game and you got 12 hours in this game, sinking a dozen hours into Black Myth Wukong. You got 12 hours in Black Myth Wukong and you only got up to the bear boss? Really? I got 15 hours into Black Myth Wukong, 3 more than you, and I'm in chapter 3. 1 boss down in chapter 3. You're still stuck in chapter 1 after 12 hours? Bro, are you kidding me right now? And to say that Black Myth Wukong's world is devoid of life, I think is extremely disingenuous. All right? Extremely disingenuous, because Black Myth Wukong's world is very interesting in my opinion. There are plenty of NPCs to talk with. Granted, they're nowhere near as much as, say, like a Souls game, but still, this is a first try from the AAA scene, and I think it's pretty damn interesting. I think the world is very interesting to explore. I think it's very pretty. The graphics are awesome. So 12 hours, you're stuck on chapter 1. Yeah, this is telling me everything I need to know about you as a gamer, but, that's neither here nor there. Diablo 4 getting ransacked for lack of content. I mean, that was pretty apparent because Diablo 4 did have a lack of content up until, you know, they started releasing their season passes and all that shit. Starfield's a whole different kind of story. Starfield is a open world RPG in space, right? So it's going to be very difficult to make millions or thousands of planets be extremely diverse and all of them be interesting. So I can understand if that's a little bit of a barren wasteland, but overall, there's still ways to make it interesting with the space combat and all that stuff. But ultimately, Starfield just was a big miss. It was a big miss for them, no matter how much you try to cope and seethe about it. Now, here's some of the best parts. Judged by its own merit, cultural and political context aside, Black Myth isn't a particularly inventive game, which is not. It's not. Black Myth Wukong is not an inventive game at all. But you don't have to be an inventive game in order for you to be a great game, right? From Software doesn't reinvent the mold every time they come out with a game. They keep pushing out the same fucking formula and reskinning it and telling a different story with it because people love the formula. Don't fix what's not broken. This is the problem with you ideological psychopaths, is that you want to fix what's not broken. You want to constantly fuck with things that don't need to be fucked with. But that's neither here nor there. Even if the bosses fights are very fun, the environments feel stale, I don't agree, and small when you realize most doors stay glued shut and most walls aren't climbable. Now, one of the things that I complained about in Black Myth Wukong, aside from the performance, is that I cannot stand how many invisible walls the game has. You know, I feel like it really kills the overall feeling of the game sometimes when you're exploring, because you can jump up one cliff, right? There will be twice the size of another cliff that you can't jump over, right? Because there's an invisible wall in the smaller cliff, but the bigger cliff doesn't have one. It throws it off a little bit. So I feel like they could definitely make the world feel a little bit more open, but overall, it's still fun to explore. And then she says, when I ran through the outer limits of each biome, I found a deserted terrain with nothing to do. In between big bosses, the game doesn't offer you any chance to reflect, rest, or enjoy the... What are you talking about? Enjoy the scenery? This is not the fucking Sims. You enjoy the scenery while killing trash mobs on your way to the next boss. That's how that works. You know what I mean? You kill a boss, and then your enjoyment is you get to run around the area while killing small enemies while you get to the next boss. That's how this game is. I feel like this person either fundamentally misunderstands what this kind of game is, or they do understand it and they're purposefully misrepresented it, which I think it's probably the second one. And also, it does give you a chance to rest at the fucking shrines. You want a chance to rest? Go sit at the shrine. Anyway, instead, it merely pushes you to the next stage, which is basically any game. The assets for the lands repeat. It's almost as if you're trudging through a maze. That's not true at all. That's not true at all. I haven't seen any repeating graphics or anything for this game. Every single area that I've explored looks extremely interesting, and they're all very different. But again, I know this person's being disingenuous. I haven't come across any side content in the 12 hours I explored the game. What are you talking about? There's side bosses everywhere. What the fuck are you talking about? There is side bosses everywhere in each chapter. I know I missed one of the side bosses in chapter 2, but there's side bosses in every single chapter that you don't have to kill in order to continue the story. So why are you saying there's no side content when there is plenty of side content? There's even a secret boss that you can fight if you ring all the bells in the first chapter.